guys, welcome to my video, and today we're going to be revamping the longest obby in Obby Creator. Now, our first obstacle is going to be that this obby is really old, and by really old I mean really old, and so the music does not work currently because of the audio update, and so right now we are going to go fix that. So this is going to be my first little hurdle of demotivation. So you might be wondering why my microphone actually sounds better right now than it did in the last recording. And that's because, if you didn't read it, my microphone did break for a little bit, but finally it's normal. And by broke, I mean my recording software accidentally used my webcam. And basically, I'm just going to explain to you what I changed right now because I lost the footage of floors 1 and 2. Basically, I just updated the graphics of this little part, made it look a little bit better, and I made it where you didn't have to wait 60 minutes. You just press the button right over here, and you should be able to hit the button, and basically, platforms will appear. I basically changed the gameplay to be less samey. This jump is pretty hard. I might change that, but I don't know. This jump is broken, but I'll fix that right now. So as you can tell, not everything is perfect in the revamp, but things are getting there. So anyways, after that part, you will reach the outside, which I changed a little bit, right around here. So basically, you just jump onto here, and I shifted the area of this wraparound. I added a crush right over here, and varied the gameplay a little bit for the outside, because before it just used to be one stud spam. I angled the tightrope a little bit, and I made this platform a pull instead of just a normal one stud. And basically this sign shows you about an elevator. Then you get onto this platform, and instead of having a one stud here, I moved it to not be here anymore, and so now you just jump onto here. By the way, please go watch my original showcase video if you haven't already. You definitely should, so you can see all the differences. And I didn't change this part much because I actually like this part. All I changed is that instead of this being a half stud, it's now an elevator. Just to utilize the elevator mechanic a little bit more. I changed this to be a little bit different. Now you don't land on a platform, but you land on the ladder. I changed this so you have to do a wraparound. And I shifted this and changed the speed pad to look a little bit better. So now it should be hanging over the edge. I'm pretty sure these jumps are around the same. Except now here, you have to do a pretty precise jump. That's pretty hard, honestly, onto here. And then you go onto here, and this is where things have really changed. You now have to do 2 button challenges. But once you have completed these 2, I'll show you what these are when the showcase gets published for the revamped version. You go over onto here. You press this button, and it's a time section. I plan on adding a sign there if I can remember. And then this is the speed remover, and then you get to floor 3. So I did change some of the signs a little bit from the original gameplay. Everything in this should be like the same. And so this episode, I'm just going to be revamping what I've revamped just because I've caught a little bit of problems. And I'm also going to be changing floors 3 and 4. So if you're excited for that, then stay tuned. Let's do this. So basically, I'm going to be changing some of these parts, starting with this part. I feel like this part is good, except for this big difficulty spike right over here. It's a very far jump, and I don't know why I made such a major difficulty spike, but I think I'm just going to adjust it a little bit towards there. And now it should be a lot easier to complete, but obviously you do have the issue with this jump. And so a simple solution could just be extending the platform to be 4 studs instead of 2. And so now it looks almost the exact same, but you're able to actually do the jump. However, it is quite difficult, so I think I'll adjust this to be around 7 studs. Now that this is a lot easier for the floor's difficulty, I'm going to change the outside a little bit by changing this to be a 1 stud right onto the wall. And I think everything is good. And everything over here I think is nice. What I will say though, I feel like this platform is a little bit weird. I feel like I need to add something to it, so I'll just make it where to get into the platform, you kind of have to squeeze through to like tight walls or whatever. And I feel like that should make it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more challenging. As you can see, there is a problem right over here that I didn't even recognize until right now. And it's that the parts here kind of need to be changed. And so these need to be different colors to be accurate with the tower. And so I'm just going to do this with everything around here. Now everything should look pretty good. So I'm just going to use these two things for where you're going to have to squeeze into. So you're just going to have to kind of squeeze into this platform a little bit. But I feel like extending this a little bit wouldn't hurt. Just to make it a little bit harder. Definitely adds a little bit more of a challenge, I'd say. So I'll make this gap around 1.5 studs, I think. So I'll just adjust this. And so now this gap should be around 1.5 studs, which should be doable, but it'll just make this part a little bit harder. And so what you could do is just climb onto here and go like this, or you could just jump sideways into the platform. And this is pretty hard, so I think what I'm going to do is that I'm going to adjust this back on over towards here. And just so you know, for the first floor, I'm intentionally not making it too hard, because I do want it to be doable for people who are new to obbying, so they can get a taste of trying out the tower, you know what I mean? More likes, mainly. Basically, that's floor 1 revamped. And so now, I'm just going to revamp this floor. And I don't think this needs much revamped, actually. All I think that really needs changed is somewhere like here, maybe? I don't know. I feel like this has no reason to be here. So I think I'm just going to shift this backward onto the actual wall. I feel like that's a little bit better. And around here, I feel like this part is a little bit empty, but I feel like it has to do because the outside section is pretty long. So yeah, I feel like that's just where I'm gonna leave everything off on floor 2. Besides adding a sign though, because I'm definitely gonna add a sign, and I 100% need to adjust this sign right now. So if I can just get my speed removed, which is perfect, I'm just going to adjust this sign. So cut to when this is a finished sign, because this is quite boring. And right over here, I feel like I'm gonna add a sign that basically just says that this section is timed. Just to kind of help guide the player. Okay, and then, so this part should be good. And now we are finally done with revamping the revamped floor 2 and 1. And keep on hitting the push boxes with my no clip. But basically what we're gonna do now is adjust the gameplay. So basically, the entire premise of this new revamped Citadel is reaching the summit, which doesn't really have anything to do with what I'm about to do, but I feel like it was just cool to tell you. So what I'm going to do is, like I did earlier, I'm going to do one of those squeeze jumps. And so basically you'll have to squeeze in between both of these platforms, just to make it a little bit interesting. So you just squeeze in between here. Alright, that's totally possible, but it is a little bit tricky, so I think I'll adjust that a little bit. Of course, we are trying to make the next floors a little bit harder than floor 2 and floor 1, but I still don't want them to be impossible, obviously. So this is a 2-stud gap, and around here what I think I'll do is just add a squeeze in between here But this jump is quite hard, so I'm going to adjust this platform to be a little bit more down. And I think what I'm going to do is make this platform actually be onto this platform that is causing you to squeeze. You could also just do a wraparound, but whatever suits you, I guess. But whatever, if you want to do a wraparound, I think I'll just extend it a little bit. So it's more appealing to choose the other option, because it's a little bit easier. And then now we just have a basic wraparound, which I feel like we could improve on by changing it a little bit. So how about we make this more so like this? We can make it look like this, and so you have to do a jump over onto there. And then once you're onto there, I think I'll extend this platform a little bit, so you kind of have to have jumped onto it from here. So I'll adjust that to a 1 stud. And also, I don't know how long that jump is, but I think it's not long enough to where you kind of can't do this. And basically, you just go on from here, and this part isn't very great. So what I think I'll change is there doesn't have to be a head hitter here, right? You can just jump on to here from here, but that's kind of basic. So what I think I'll do is that I'll do what I do best and change gameplay. So let's make this like a ladder, because there will be a wraparound in front of it. So obviously, if you were to do this jump normally, it's easy, right? You just jump onto here from here. But what if we made it kind of like a wraparound? So instead, it's like kind of problematic like this. So you have to kind of do a very long jump onto here. And so the best approach would be to make a very big ladder, so you can actually do it. Pretty hard jump, but I think it's doable for the average player. Okay, I don't know what I just said. This is not doable for the average player, but if this is a remorseless, I feel like people who have beaten Tower True Skill can do this jump. You know what, I think I might want to extend that ladder a little bit. Also, just checking, am I still recording? I'm still recording, good. I'm gonna do that check every little bit so I don't get my footage deleted again. So, you're just a normal player. You can make it, okay, good. So already I feel like we've made this jump still around the same difficulty, maybe even a little bit harder. But we've made this jump a lot more interesting. And it really just shows how easy it is to change a jump, like basic 1 studs, into pretty difficult full-on obstacle, I should say, which really adds some creativity to your tower or Citadel. So whenever you see a basic jump in your tower, like 1 stud to 1 stud, just think to yourself, how can I change this? And most of the time, you're going to be able to do that by a wraparound. So just think of creative wraparounds, you know, like this. And basically, you can just jump on to here from here. But let's make this a little more interesting, I say. I think what we should do is make this a moving platform. And to do that, we'll make this a spin part. So I'll just make this spinning a little bit. No good reason except for the fact that it can. And I'll change it to spin a little bit faster. But this is peak creativity, by the way. But anyways, I'll change this to be a little bit faster so it still is kind of hard. You jump on here to here. And you take this to this part, which has a wraparound. And so basically when you're on that spinner, you have to prepare it to be the perfect moment to go like that. And I think what I'll do actually is make that a little bit harder, because I feel like that would be good for this floor. Because I don't really want to baby the player, you know what I mean? I kind of want this to be like, you have to have beaten at least like tots or something like that. And the final jump will just be a normal 1 stud, I guess. Onto this platform. which I don't know if you can tell, but this is actually a ladder. And I think it would make more sense if I just changed this from a ladder to a truss. Because then you can definitely tell, like, oh, I'm supposed to climb this. And so it's not great for the look, but it does the job. So I'm fine with it. So, ooh, I have a good idea. You know what I could do? I can change this platform right inside. I can actually make this turn into a neon part. And what this neon part does is great decoration. And so now it makes it look like the trusses thing onto that. And we have just improved the decoration a lot. And so you jump onto here to there. But I feel like that jump is just a little bit basic, so we can remove that one side entirely. And already that's adding another layer of difficulty. But that in itself is also pretty basic of a jump. So let's just add a little bit of a ladder here. And maybe we can make it to where there is a very small part covering this ladder, causing you to not be able to get across it. I need to drag this by 0.01 studs. And so now you can do this big jump onto here. And so basically, what I've decided is that originally the gameplay is like this, right? But what I think I'm going to do is that I'm going to change this gameplay. And so obviously you still have to wait for 120 seconds. But what you're waiting for, I feel like that can be, you're not waiting for anything. What you're actually doing is the trial of time. And what is the trial time, you might be thinking? And that's a good question. Well, you know how in Citadel of Laptop Splitting, they have that one thing that's basically like where you have to be careful and do a timed part in this purple thing. And if you fall, you'll die basically. So I'm just gonna do that. And I'm just gonna hope that it works. Oh my gosh, I must have selected 0.05 again. This is such a mess. Oh, that's 0.1 for some reason. I hope that's good and not misaligned. Anyways, let's make this a little bit more centered. This is a 30 by 30 platform. And this is a little bit of a walking simulator. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of a wraparound right here. And what you're gonna have to do is that when you do that wraparound, you're gonna have to land on here. Hopefully this wraparound is doable, by the way. I have no idea. Let me play test this. That is pretty hard. I'm gonna change it a little bit. It's gonna be 4 studs. So it's doable for a remorseless player. And then you can just jump on top of here. And basically, you just walk onto the button. Okay, that's perfect. So you walk onto the button, and you have 120 seconds to do what? So basically, you have 120 seconds to survive. And what are you going to survive? Well, basically, you're going to have to survive oh my gosh, I've already made an entire speech on this. I can't be doing this. I kind of feel like this will be in a little bit of a unique direction with there being 120 seconds to complete a challenge. I'm going to try to make it as long as possible.
Motion detected as
so it will hopefully take a while to do. That's what I'm hoping anyway. And I'm going to just move this down a little bit. This thing does look kind of ugly, but it's required, I guess. Not focusing on the detail here if you haven't already gotten the memo. You know what I think I'm doing right now without even realizing it? I'm basically just making this part really hard to exhaust most of your time. That's what I think this section is going to mainly be. Okay, I was finally able to finish the outside section. This took me a really long time because it's basically almost the entirety of the floor. This is like at least 1 minute of gameplay right here, and that can take a while to build, as you can see from here. I added arrows so you know where to go when you get back in the tower, or the Citadel, but let me know if you think I should change anything. And if you're wondering why this arrow is so far away, it's because you can collide with it. Isn't that cool? Doesn't do anything, but, you know, just kind of cool. So I think right now I'm just going to change the rotation of this a little bit and bring it a little bit closer. But basically, my goal is to basically show you, the goal of that is to basically show you, I need to fall down back to here. Oh, I need to go over here. And let me know if that works. But anyways, these parts are all the parts that are activated by the button. Except for these for some reason. But this gets activated by the button. And so you basically just have to get past this entire part, which as you can see is massive, in under 120 seconds. And then this is part of a button that stays activated forever. And so basically you can just use that. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to basically make it where you need to backtrack a little bit. And basically I'll make it where, I guess I can just make it where there will be, this can turn into kind of like a ladder right over here. Okay, so I add the little ladder so you can jump onto here. I'll make this jump a little bit more like this. And I think a cool thing to do would be to make this jump go out a little bit longer and make it to where you have to fall all the way down here. And then from there, you just jump down to here. I need this part to be right here, so you have to do a head hitter. Well, you could accidentally land on that, so I'll just change it to be right over here on this side, because there's no way anybody is going to be doing it from this side. Like, why would you do that? But anyways, you can just do a jump onto here. And yeah. I'm gonna adjust what the button has a little bit more. So, for example, this entire ladder can be controlled by the button. So I'm just changing the transparency of this from 0 to 0.6, so it's clear that this will be activated once the button is. I don't know why, but this seems to be always activated, which we don't really want. And so I'm going to change the transparency of this to 1 and make this be controlled by this, which it already is, it seems like, which is good. I'll make this a little bit of a ladder. And you'll have to do an elevator to get to the next part. Ooh, that is a good idea. Okay, and so I'll grab a elevator, quote-unquote elevator, from here. And basically what this will do is that it will launch you, and let's see. Yeah, we can have a little bit of an elevator maze, probably. Yeah, I'm just going to create a little bit of an elevator maze. Not much of a challenge, but at the end you kind of have to do a elevator wraparound. Okay, so I've created the elevator maze. Now I have to check that work. I think I need a little bit of a roof because this thing automatically has to have 50 jump power. And so, yeah, I'll just change this to have a roof. Okay, perfect. So now the maze should work just fine. And we'll just change this roof to be bigger. Okay, perfect. Oh my god. Okay, well that's just something that happens. A little broken. I think we might have to increase the height of everything. Okay, so that is the end of floor 3. Now it's time to work on floor 4. I have to say, in retrospect to floor 3, it was really hard to build. It took a really long time, and it will probably take the players a really long time to pass, which is good for the world's longest obby thing. But I'm gonna try to make sure that that doesn't happen again with this thing. So, for the beginning of the floor, I think it's perfectly fine. I like sections like this where it's kind of enclosed. I feel like it would be better if I move this to over here, so I'm just gonna do that. Not possible as a jump, but if we scoot that down a little bit more, it is possible now. We just jump on over to here. This text basically says this is the final floor before break. There you will face the base luck, or best of luck. It doesn't really matter anyway. The basement isn't that intense. In case you're wondering, we'll do the basement next episode. Am I still recording? Yes, I'm still recording. We will be doing the basement the next episode, so if you do want to see the basement, please make sure to like the video, because that tells me that you want to see more. So I think what I'm going to do here is decrease this to around there, so it'll be quite dark. Doesn't really need anything to copy its color anymore, so I'll just click OK. Whoops, that's a dropper. We won't be changing that until the next time. So, this gameplay is all fine and dandy until you get to around over here. I feel like this is pretty basic, so I feel like it'd be quite interesting if we spice things up by adding this. So now it's a little bit harder, but at the same time it also makes it look a little bit more visually interesting. Or we could even go here. We'll put that right over there, which I think looks a little bit better, so I'm going to choose that. But if you are making a tower of your own, you can choose whatever style you'd like. And then right over here you have some walkarounds, which personally I think I'm going to change those. Instead of walkarounds, I think what I'll do is I make it where you literally have to walk around it, if you know what I mean. So I'll make this a little bit bigger, and I'll change these platforms to where you have to walk around every single one of them. So you can just walk around and walk onto here. And then you have to do this big jump down, which I think would be all fine if it wasn't for the fact that this is so close to here. So I think what I'm going to do is that I'm going to bring this just a little bit closer. So kind of looks interesting as well. Kind of looks like this, and you can just jump onto here, which is also better because we don't want the tower or the Citadel to be insane difficulty. And that jump looked kind of like a soul crushing jump, I won't lie. So you just walk onto here, we do this jump, which is way easier now. How much is this? It's only 10 studs. We can make this probably a good 10.5 at least. I think I'll make this around 11. So normally it'd be impossible, but now it is 100% possible very easily. And then you can jump onto here, which is quite a problem. Oh, I see why. Okay, so the reason why I made it where I can jump onto there quite problematically is because I didn't want to change the color, but I'm not too lazy, so I'll just get to changing the color. You just jump down to here, but I don't really like how this is a one stud only. I feel like it'd be better if you can just jump down to right over here. Oh yeah, I remember this tower has somewhat of a checkpoint system, if you will. And so if you skip some part, like this part somehow, you will be not able to win. And that is because this button goes to the basement. And so if you skip that part, can't go to the basement. But I think what would be really interesting is to make like a use cheese on like the wind pad or whatever, because you like cheesed it or something and you did something you weren't supposed to do. So I think what I'll do is that I'll make this kind of be like a wraparound, even more so than before. So now you have to wrap around it like that, and then you can jump onto here, but it's kind of hard to see that, so I think I'll change that to be quite big where you can see it very easily. So why are you making that jump easier? Well, I'm not going to, because I'm going to change it to be where you have to kind of wrap around. You have to do a wraparound onto it. So I'll make that 28 studs tall. This is 2 studs, by the way. You have to wrap around 3 studs to get onto the platform, but that is really hard. So I think what I'll do instead is around 1.5 studs. So now that's definitely possible, but I don't want it to be too easy because that felt a little bit easier. So I think I'll change that to 1 now, and now it's not very possible. So yeah, I'll just keep it at 0.5 for now, because I feel like this is the best pause of action that we could do. So now it's hard, but not impossible. You just jump onto here. You do 2 1 studs onto here, which I don't think is very fun. And so I think instead I'll change it to be a wraparound onto a 1 stud. I never liked that floor 2 wraparound. It's kind of just going to face inward, which is really hard when you have it towards the frame. So I'll just make this not as close to the frame, so it'll be 2 studs outward instead. So you just jump onto there, but I feel like that's kind of easy, so I'm just gonna increase this. Let's see. Now that's good because it's definitely harder, but not too hard. So you jump down to here, you jump onto there, and then how about we make it where once you're here to jump onto there, but because that jump is kind of hard, we can make it like a head hitter, so you can jump to the top of the platform and then jump onto here, which definitely feels a little bit more doable. And this part I feel like really has no right to exist, so I think I'm just gonna change this to be a little bit more like the platform. I'll change this to be like earlier where we made the truss. And so now you can just jump onto here, and this tightrope really has no reason to exist. Also, it's very thin. So instead, I think I'll be replacing it by a pretty big 1 stud walk, but obviously have a wraparound to be able to get onto it. This this citadel is very wraparound based, as you can tell. When I'm filling in filler jumps, I always try to change them from filler jumps to wraparound. I think having to do the trial of time again is really repetitive, so I don't know why I decided to do that, but I guess I did, and I'm gonna just keep that so it kind of stays long. Okay, so now there's the sign completed, and after this part, the floor is over. So yeah, but one thing I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna put this right over here, and I'm gonna adjust this so it's not too repetitive. So basically, I'll change this to be a wraparound a wraparound that takes you up to the next stud, and this stud will kind of just be where there is another stud placed directly on this, like around here, I'd say. And then once you get on top of there, hold on, I need to adjust this button. So you go on that, and it teleports you to the button, which if you move a little bit, it'll do. Now you just jump onto here from here. And also now that you have activated the button will actually activate a teleporter, which looks like, let's just say it looks like this, which originally you cannot collide with, but now you can, and it's going to send you to here because I don't want you to have to go all the way back and do everything again, because that is kind of dumb. You go onto here, and then yep, the teleporter is working, and yeah, that works. Okay, so you go onto that wedge again, jump onto here, do the very creative gameplay that the mods or that curators will love you for, and you're off to the next floor. So I'm gonna adjust everything in here next episode, but if you enjoyed this, leave a like, and next episode will come sooner. And I'll see you at next episode. Goodbye.